Have you ever wondered where your home sits on the minimalism or clutter scale? After working with a ton of people to help them declutter their homes, and after also massively decluttering my own home, I've learned that these are the usual stages that people go through to get from heavy clutter to calm and clutter-free. The "it's normal" stage. Before I realized I had a clutter problem, I used to think this is normal. I used to tell myself it's not that bad. I'm a mom of two, I have small children, toddlers running around, babies, and so I thought all the clutter and the toys and the piles are just part of the deal. I used to tell myself I didn't have a clutter issue, that I didn't actually buy that much, until I realized one day that actually I had wardrobes stuffed to the brim, but when I went to get dressed in the morning, I still felt like I didn't have enough. I still felt like if I could just get the right piece to add to my wardrobe, then everything would make sense. I had a kitchen with half the things in there never being used, and I still remember my kids asking to do watercolor paints. I couldn't find them for the life of me. I didn't know where they went, so I went out and repurchased them, and then a few weeks later I found them. They were just stashed in a cupboard behind, piles of clutter. And this is where slowly we kind of get to the next stage, which is the "this is stressful" stage. This is where I got a few years ago when I started my minimalism and decluttering journey, and I just started to get so annoyed at all the stuff in my home. When you wake up one day and you stumble on piles, you can't find the things you want to wear that day, you can't find the things your kids are asking for, you're struggling to find shoes for them for the day, and just constantly tripping over toys, having flat surfaces covered with things. All of those little things were starting to get so annoying, and it was really making me feel like I wasn't doing enough, like, I should try harder, and that there's something wrong with me if I can't keep on top of my home. And that's where I got to the eye-opener stage. And this is where I was scrolling on Instagram, and I can't remember exactly whose page I saw this on, but I read about the book Minimalista by Shira Gill. And I thought that's an interesting book, and I thought it was more about how to organize your home, how to, keep things looking nice, and I thought I'll just give it a read. So I asked for it for Christmas from my husband, and I read it in a few days over the Christmas period, and I felt like my eyes had been opened. I also started reading a lot more articles about clutter and how it's affecting us, and I felt like deep down I kind of knew this. I kind of knew clutter wasn't great for you, but I never realized exactly how much it was impacting me and us as a family. And I just started going deeper into this and just realizing how clutter is affecting so many areas of our life, like your sleep habits. It's been linked to having trouble falling asleep and staying asleep and having restless nights. And just because we go to bed and we close our eyes doesn't mean we can fully ignore the clutter around us. And it's the first thing we see when we open our eyes in the morning is the bedroom, and if it's full of clutter, we go into the bathroom to get ready for the day. It's just hard to find the products we need. There's lots of messes everywhere, which can really trigger this stress response and raise our cortisol levels. Then getting dressed in the morning is really hard. You feel like you have a wardrobe full of stuff, but again, nothing to wear, because a lot of those things are actually things we bought on impulse or trendy pieces that don't truly go with our lifestyle. And it's all of these little things that kind of add up, and it truly makes you open your eyes and realize, okay, I think we need to tackle this. And so you move on to the declutter stage. So now you know what a difference decluttering can make in your life, in your relationship. Apparently, a lot of people in a relationship argue on a weekly basis over the clutter in their homes. But decluttering can help so much. It can help us be more present. It can help us spend less time clearing up every night and just more time chilling with our family or our partner. So as I went through these phases, I started decluttering myself. And to be honest, at first I thought I'll just do a huge weekend, I'll declutter everything, and that will be it. I'll see all the benefits. But then I realized actually I don't have the time to declutter in one weekend. So instead I started doing these small declutters, 10-15 minutes here and there, maybe 30 minutes if I had the time. I started with, doing the mug cupboard and getting rid of all the mugs we didn't truly need, because in reality I didn't need 30 or 40 mugs. Then slowly going through my kids' toys and getting rid of all the things that they were just throwing on the floor every single day, but they weren't really playing with. Or getting rid of all the items in my wardrobe that I had, and there were so many of them, that I wasn't wearing. Some of them didn't fit me anymore. Some of them I kind of liked the look of them on the hanger, but I never liked them on me. but for some reason I still kept them. And there are so many things like this that we can declutter to not only make space in our home, but also to bring more clarity to us and to kind of calm our minds as well. And one other thing we can do in this decluttering stage is to declutter our digital presence, which is something I never thought about for the longest time. I remember when we moved country about 6 years ago now, from Romania to the UK, which is where we live right now. And there were so many websites we had to sign up for bills, for example, or to fill in a lot of forms with our personal data. And in the months that followed, we started receiving so many spam phone calls. It was pretty obvious that our personal data had ended up in a lot of unwanted places. And this is where a service like Incogni can really help declutter your digital presence. Incogni protects your privacy. It removes a lot of personal data from the web. It prevents those unwanted calls, and it also protects you from spam. It can even prevent identity fraud. I actually had no idea about this, but I learned there's something called data brokers. Basically companies who gather up as much personal data as they can as they surf the web from lots of people, and they sell that data for a profit. The number of data breaches has also been going up so much in the past few years. I read the statistic that in 2023, for example, data breaches have been going up 72% compared to the previous year. And these data broker companies gather not just our email address or phone number, but they go deeper. Sometimes they will share things like health information or financial information, number of children or employment history, and just so much more about us. Incogni makes it super easy to remove your personal data from tons of data brokers, and it's all completely automated, which I love because I like to keep it simple. So take your personal data back with Incogni. You can use the code Madeline at the link below, and you'll get 60% off an annual plan. And there's also a 30-day money-back guarantee from them. The slow benefits stage. This is where you've started decluttering and you're really starting to see some benefits. You're starting to see some progress, which is really great. You can see there's more space. Maybe you can see your floor again or your dining table. You can find things a bit easier. Everything's just a little bit more streamlined, because when you have less amount of stuff to take care of, it just makes things easier in general. Things are also easier to clean because when you go to wipe a surface, if there aren't a lot of things on it, it's just a quick wipe, and it just makes things so much easier in your daily routine. The "is this ever going to end" stage. This is where I see a lot of people kind of get stuck. You might feel like you've gotten rid of so much stuff, but it still feels kind of crammed. A lot of people feel like, well, I got rid of everything I could get rid of. What else can I do? And what I've learned is that either we simply need to get rid of more stuff for our space. Yes, we might have gotten rid of a lot, but if there's still a lot of things compared to the space we have available, then it will still feel crammed. And this is where everybody's a bit different. But what I've learned is that you're simply exercising your decluttering muscle. The more you do this, the more you declutter, the more it becomes a bit of a habit, and you become a bit better at making those decisions, because you're also going to start being more aware of the things that you have and you use in your home. You simply look at things a bit differently. And I also find it really helpful to declutter in layers, because the first pass you do over, let's say, a drawer, you might get rid of a few spatulas, but maybe you think, oh, everything else I really need to keep. And that's absolutely fine. I think it's really good to take our time with these decisions as well. But as you go about your day and you start using things in that drawer, you might realize, oh, actually, there's a few more things here that I don't truly need or I don't truly use. And so the second pass you do in that drawer, you might be just a little bit more ruthless or a little bit more realistic with yourself, and then declutter a few more things. And that's why decluttering in layers can be really helpful. So yes, it's either that we need to declutter a bit more, or the second thing that we might need to do is to really have a look at our visual clutter, because it might be that inside cupboards and everything looks streamlined and organized, but on the surface, we still have a lot of things out. We still have maybe a lot of decor we don't truly love. And so seeing all of those things on a daily basis can still make our space feel really crammed and cluttered. Or it might be that a lot of the things start creeping back in. And what I've learned is that decluttering needs to become a bit of a habit, and we do need to declutter consistently. And I don't want to scare you. This doesn't mean you're going to be decluttering all day, every day for the rest of your life. But the more you do it, it actually gets easier. It's only going to be a few things here and there to declutter rather than bags and bags of stuff. But it's just, we constantly bring stuff into our homes. Maybe we buy things, maybe kids bring things back from school. And so we do need to kind of keep on top of it to keep things from piling up again. The your habits change stage. I see a lot of the members in my Simply Decluttered course go through this stage as well. They've decluttered a lot of their homes, they're quite happy with where they are at, and they slowly start to become better shoppers and just being more mindful of the things they bring into their homes. And this is what happens to me too, because seeing all of those bags of clothes I was taking out, all of the waste that I had created, all of those things I didn't truly need or I didn't truly like, it just really made me realize that, okay, going forward, when I go shopping, I really need to be more intentional. This is also where we usually start to create a few more systems in our home, because when you declutter, you just have more space and you also have a bit more clarity of where you might want to place things, like, having a little system in your entryway where you put your keys and shoes, and just making these little things that make your home a lot more functional as a whole. Because of decluttering, you might also start having more money in your bank, which is what I have found too, because you're just not going to want to buy so many useless things. And sometimes you're saving in ways you just didn't think of before. And some of the most important things that I have found and how I've changed my habits is simply that I found more time for the things that matter to me and for spending quality time with my family. I have more time to do nice things together, and I also have more energy for that. Let me know if I missed any stages, and let me know what stage you are at right now. Don't forget to check out Incogni, which will be linked in the description box, and I will see you in the next video.